Kravitz. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good morning and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 343 of Picks and Ponies. We are live here in the Chicago area in the United States this morning for the last three races on an incredible card at Medyan Racecourse. It is Dubai World Cup Day. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. A few administrative items. Please make sure you follow us on X right there at H Kravitz. Hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. We'd greatly appreciate it on YouTube. And also smash that like button as well right below the video player in the top right-hand corner of the YouTube player. Hit the notification bell so that you know when new content will rise. You can reach me at my email, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. We welcome everyone worldwide watching the Dubai World Cup card. You can listen to this also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. We have a great tip sheet. Look below the video player on YouTube for information about our Power Picks tip sheet, which has been red hot. It's inexpensive and profitable. We have a great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Check that out as well. Before I bring on my co-host, Davy Lane, I want to give a shout out. You can see on my shirt right here. Sorry, where is it? Right there. Shout out to Delphi Racing Club, who sponsors this show. Their horse Pandagate with an excellent third place finish in the UAE Derby. Congratulations to Mac Uter, the Clements, everyone involved with Pandagate. They won $100,000 worth of purse and a third place finish in the UAE Derby to the very talented Forever Young from Japan, who will be going to the Kentucky Derby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's jump into it. We got a lot of people in the chat. We want a very active live chat. So if you're on YouTube, please go to the live chat. We want a lot of people commenting. We've got a lot of people already here. We have Derek is here. Nothing better than some morning racing with the HHH crew. Tom Espinoza is here. Steve Grutner is here. Paul Conlon is here. Life is good. HHH family all together. Happy holidays. Yes, a very happy early Easter for those of you that celebrate tomorrow on Sunday. Let me bring on my great co-host. Can't say enough good things about him. He's very generous with his time. He is live in Liverpool, England, to help us go through these last three races and give you some excellent advice. The wonderful punter from the UK. Let's bring on right now, Mr. Davy Lane. Davy, good morning, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm tired, Howard, because I think handicapping / punting needs to be an endurance Olympic sport, because
I agree.
I've been up since early morning and I had to punch about 3 hours of tickets because I got various characters here in this side of the world, and it was I drew the short straw because we can't play any picks pool bets that over here, so we have to get elaborate with parlays and so on.
Yeah, there was no pick six. I have no idea why what happened. I've been betting the pick six in Dubai for years. Although that last race would have knocked the hell out of me, Davey. Not a good result for many people. With Tuz,
we had it. I'm alive to it.
Good.
Yeah. So
Okay.
So there's a serious sweat going on.
We have that in our pick six parlay, Davey?
No. With all these characters I've been playing with, I was up this morning for 3 hours before you woke up typing in bets. So there's 2 tickets remaining out of however many, and that's one of them. So it wasn't my pick. I'd heard he wasn't training good, but these things can train badly for a couple of weeks, and then the weekend of the race they're feeling good, and we don't know about it. So
right.
That's
he ran great. I think punting should be the 11th event in the decathlon. We'll change it to another name. But anyway, Davey, let's very quickly, before we talk about the first live race that we're going to discuss, which is the Dubai Turf, about 1.8 miles or 1,800 meters, with a very talented group of horses, including one that you have a big tip on. Let's very quickly just run through some of the races earlier of mention.
Right.
Saudi Crown was absolutely awful here for the United States punters in the mile, won by Two Rivers Over, which is a Doug O'Neill horse with USA connection. So congratulations to them. Forever Young, very impressive, I thought, in the UAE Derby. Davy, he's going to the Kentucky Derby. I thought he did it very professionally. This time looked like a serious horse to me. And then, of course, the turf sprint won by Hong Kong. Any thoughts on the earlier races, Davy?
Yeah, I was very excited to see Forever Young win because I have him on an anti-post play at 33-1 in a multiple, and that cash out value, which they do here, just rose multiple. So I basically have him to win and something at Royal Ascot, and then it's many, many multiples. So that's exciting to see him run well and know that he's ready.
Yes.
I was very happy to see, one of the unheralded type riders like Maldonado win a race over in Dubai. Is great.
Yes.
For O'Neill. Yeah, it's good to see it being shared out because a lot of top US jockeys probably stayed over for Arkansas and Florida. So, it's who came over from the States. We have Luis Saez, Maldonado, Dylan Davis in town. So a few good riders, who may in previous years not got the call. So that was good. And this Russian horse, Tuz. I mean, this was a Russian horse originally. So
yes,
the Russians. It's like anywhere they're buying the pedigrees, over the years, and maybe not on the level of the Japan, obviously, but hey, they've got a close to favorite in the World Cup itself. We'll talk about that later.
All right, Davey, we got 15 minutes to the Dubai Turf. It's a 1 1/8 race, 1800, and what I'm going to do right away, there is a pick 3 that starts in this race. It is a 20-cent minimum bet, and what I found, USA Punters, is you could only bet it on TVG. We've had some issue, or FanDuel. I've had issues with betting this morning. I can't speak for anyone else, but Davey, at the bottom of the screen is our pick 3 that we are touting here, so everyone can look at the bottom of the screen. And again, it's a 20-cent base bet, so you can certainly spread if you want to quite a bit. We're not spreading quite as much there. Davey, there is a horse in this race that you are going to be quite amazed by in the betting windows. Right now in the American, I'm not sure if this is the World Pool or if this is the American Pool, but right now, your top choice, Doe Deuce, who you love, and you bet him months ago in this race, is
I took
5-1 right now in the American pools. Your thoughts?
That's amazing. I saw him drifting in the UK pools from 3 to 7 to 2 to 4, and I wasn't sure what that was all about. So maybe there's information, maybe there's something wrong with the horse or there's something, but it seems unusual to me. I mean, he's looked fantastic all week. So again, you can look at horses in the week or two before, get the right signals, but you don't necessarily know what's going on in the 24 hours before, do you? Really,
No, you don't.
You don't.
David, let's go through the field. I'm going to quickly go through the field. Now, everyone needs to understand, especially those watching here in the United States, the posts do not correlate with their saddle cloth. The saddle cloth does not correlate with their posts. It's very different out there. So I'm going to read it off. It's a little bit hard to see on the screen. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, but you see their saddle cloth number, and then you also see a number in parentheses, and that is their post. This is right now in actually, I need to refresh this. I'm not sure if this is up to date here. Let me refresh this. Okay, so this is what they have overseas. So this is right now the approximate overseas betting. I want to make that clear.
Well, that would be the UK betting, not overseas.
Okay, this is the UK betting. The United States betting is very different, and this is fascinating, Dave. Let's bring this up. This is, again, in the UK betting right now. The 5, Doe Deuce, breaking into the 4 is 4-1. Luxembourg is the 8, breaking into the 3, 11-2. The 10, who I like a lot, Measured Time, breaking from the 5, 6-1. Lord North, the 7, 13-2. Nashua, a female horse, the 16, breaking from the 16. Voyage Bubble, Davy, the 14 horse, who is breaking from the 1 hole, who is a talented horse from Hong Kong or the Far East, is 7-1 in the European pools. Davy, in the American pool, he is 8-5.
What, Voyage Bubble?
Voyage Bubble is 8-5 in the USA pools.
That's not the USA pool, Howard. That's the Hong Kong pool.
That's the Hong Kong pool.
Most people betting into that pool, it might be the USA pool, but it's the Hong Kong pool also.
Okay.
So this is this is Hong Kong punters playing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So the pool that apparently we're playing into here in the United States is the Hong Kong pool, and they are pounding. They are pounding their local Voyage Bubble, who you like, but really not that much, correct?
Well, that explains a little bit about the deduce price, then maybe, because there's two things getting pounded. Luxembourg has come in a hell of a lot. When I first saw the price, I thought maybe the quote unquote lads had a bet, because they can walk up to some place and drop a lot of money. But now that I realize it's the Hong Kong players playing it, they're playing Rian more because they know him as the best jockey in the world, as their opinion, because he goes there every other week to ride the big races when he can. So that adds up. And maybe they don't know to do so much. He's not raced in Hong Kong. So that could explain that. And that might level out late to the end, because the Hong Kong punters, like the Americans, the really, really big hitters, they hit this thing 20 seconds before they off,
Yeah.
And a big pile of money comes in for deduce because he's 4-1. So all of a sudden he can be 11-4 in a blink. So who knows?
Davey, here's the pool that Americans are betting into right now. Hopefully, people can see the prices there on the left side of the screen. This is in number order. This is not post position order. You see Doduce 5-1, Lord North 5-1, Luxembourg 6, measured time 7-2. And Voyage, I'm sorry, those were projected. My fault. In the green there, Doduce 5-1, Lord North 13, Luxembourg 6. You want to look on the left side of the screen, ladies and gentlemen, in green. Measured time 6, and there's Voyage Bubble right there, 8-5, Davey.
Yeah, 8-5.
Quite amazing.
Hong Kong money. It's Saturday night in Hong Kong, and everything's all right. They're just they're hitting the OTB and they're playing it.
Well, let's talk.
It's a Hong Kong Derby winner, so it has sentimental attachment. This is like Americans with curling or this thing. They're live playing it.
Well, here's Voyage Bubble. He's run very well. He lost to Romantic Warrior, Golden 60. He has run in Group 1 races. Mikel Barcelona is an excellent rider, and he does have the rail. I would assume you believe the rail is an advantage here in this race, Davey. Although it's a long stretch. It is a long. It's a long backstretch run. I'm not sure post matters that much.
Right, but one thing I had a chat with Alan Carrasco on the Twitter a few days ago. Tony Cruz, the trainer of California Spangle, which won the Alcoz Sprint earlier on, his trainer has been in town all week. Now, whether the Voyage Bubble trainer showed up at the last minute, I don't know, but he wasn't in town all week initially. So that's one knock against him. The other knock, although he's got a good rider, the prime time Hong Kong riders, and they could have gone on a private jet and come back and forwards, didn't come. So, Brenton Abdullah won on California Spangle. Good for him. He'd ridden him before. He kept the ride. But Voyage Bubble had been a horse that, the top Australian jockeys had ridden him. You look, Zach Pert and MacDonald had been on him. So, that to me is a little bit of a sign. And he's he's in between, isn't he? Sometimes he's a miler and sometimes he's a bit longer. I mean, I don't quite see him being one thing or the other. So I don't have him as a win possibility.
Okay.
I mean, it's basically this race, 16 horses. There's one horse I fancy a lot. Basically, the 9 possible winners, and the 7 I ruled out immediately. And if we can walk through the 9, we can walk through the 9. But they would be measured time. Obviously, the Godolphin horse.
Let's talk about the one that you fancy the most. Talk about your bet, if you'd like to make it public, with Doduce and why you like this very talented Japanese horse. He's won $7.6 million. Has not run since December, but he's faced the Great Equinox a few times, and you just think he's very talented and will love. Most importantly, will love this surface and this trip, Davey.
Yeah. There's a purple patch of Japanese race horses right now, and this horse is one of them. It did come over for the Arc for that, but the Arc was soft, bordering on heavy, and it likes airport runways, and he's going to get an airport runway to run here on in Dubai. He won the big 2-year-old futurity race. He beat Equinox, although Equinox was undercooked and not ready in the Japanese Derby, and that's a prime time win to have. He's beat all comers in the Arena Kinnan, which including Stars on Earth, who runs later, through Seven Seas, who was fourth in the Arc. He beat the 2000 Japanese 2000 Guineas winner Sol Orient. He's beaten all of the best horses, including the best horse in the world at one point. And he's cutting back to a speed that suits him best because he's got great acceleration. He gets the track he wants. He's drawn favorably. He can see where he's going, and I think it's an open and shut case. So wow. I think the market will correct itself closer to the off.
And if I may say, Davey, I believe you had him at 10-1 in anti-post betting as early as January, I believe.
A sizable bet anti-post on 10-1. Yeah.
Wow. Well, good luck, Davey, because you are going to absolutely get paid if you are correct. And I just want everyone to know at home, look, we love punting. We love betting. We've been betting since early this morning, some good, some bad. And so if you look down the screen, like, Howard, what are you doing? I'm putting in the pick 3 bet at the bottom of the screen, Davey. I'm putting in. I'm going to listen. You got to put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. And that is what I'm doing. Let's talk about some other horses. Here's Measured Time. This is my top choice, ladies and gentlemen. Right. I realize he has to improve maybe a length or two, perhaps. He has been so impressive to me, Davey. Trained by Charles Appleby. He's by Frankel out of a Street Cry mare. He's looked super impressive in all of his runs. He does have to step up. This is definitely a step up in class, but he's tactical. I think they're pointing to this spot. And the other thing I do want to say about Godolphin is Master of the Sea is a very talented horse. They've decided to send to the United States to run at Keelan in 2 weeks instead of going in this spot. Measured Time is very talented. How do you fancy his chances, David?
Well, that tells you that they think this horse is better for this race, correct? Because they want to win on their home turf, so that's a positive sign. But I'm just checking the market now. Still 4-1 on Measured Time. But the Group 1 that he did win here, the Jebel Hatter, I thought it was a very weak race.
Yes.
Really, the horse that was expected to be favoured in that race and wasn't was Marge. You remember Marge, the winner of the English 1000 Guineas, who came to America and did her thing, and she was retired after that race. So obviously people knew, and the money was down, and he beat no one because the only other horse in that race was Marge, and she finished last. So,
Dave, we've got about 3 minutes. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Also on the bottom of the screen, ladies and gentlemen, right now are our picks in this race. I'm going 10-5-8. I think Luxembourg can bounce back and is very interesting here. Davey is going 5-4-10. Davey, we are a little bit short on time here. We've plenty of time. Why don't you quickly talk about Dana and Beluga, who's your second choice at 9-1, very quickly.
Right. Unlucky last year, Moreira ran it. João Moreira was the jockey, and he basically thought he had the winning horse, and he held it up. And he came with a wet sail, but too late. Had the race been another half a furlong, he would have won by many lengths. He's also been in the mix with Equinox. He was a 2.5 length behind Equinox. 2.5 lengths behind Jadus in the Japanese Derby. And he was like many of the others, 4 to 8 lengths behind Equinox when racing him last year. So he's been a bridesmaid, and Jadus hasn't been a bridesmaid, but Jadus has been the bride. So
Lord North has won this the last 2 times. He's an unbelievable story. He's 8 years old now. I don't think he's going to be quite as good. I don't like him personally. If he wins again, that'd be an unbelievable story. And then on the far outside, Nashua, very nice mare for John Godson, is also taking some money. Davey, let me go ahead and put us back here. Let me take this off the screen here for a second. We have just a few minutes to post. Again, for those people that are new to the show, or whether you're not new to the show, we cannot show the race live, of course, on the screen due to copyright laws. But Davey, what we are going to do, we're going to leave you and I on the screen, and I will talk through the race. We'll let everyone watch it, and we'll talk through the race as they look like they actually looks like they're still, or the number 7, is that Lord, who is the number 7? Is that Lord North? They're showing the 7 who's not on the track right now and still in the paddock. That's Lord North, Davey. So I don't know what's going on there. Did you see the same thing I just saw?
No, I don't, because I'm behind you a few seconds. I'm watching on the Racecourse YouTube page.
On one of the feeds I'm watching, well, they're about to load, and it sure looked like, unless they were talking about another horse.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah,
it looked like the 7 was
Lord
parading,
North, yeah.
and it was not on the course. So,
well, this what happened. This was Tuz did the same thing. Everyone else was already out, and Tuz didn't come out till late. You know, I don't know if they're trying to.
This would be very late. I don't.
Him.
I'm not listening to the feed right now of the sound, although I'm going to go do that right now. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, there's about 2 minutes of post that says, Davey, in terms of the pace scenario, who do you believe will be out front? Who will show speed here and lead the way, in your opinion, in this race?
You know, Howard, I mean, that's hard to tell. I mean, it's a 16-horse race. I'd be lying to you if I told you how they're going to break and go out.
Okay.
You know,
who wants to be forward, Davey, based on your knowledge of these horses?
Well, I mean, I think what you have, and I'm just looking at them right now. I mean, some of the also-rans will go forward. I mean, you're talking like the Hong Kong horses, Straight Aaron, the Japanese Materno Sky. You know, those types will go forward. You know, they'll be famous for 15 seconds and so on.
Where do you believe Doe Deuce will be, or where do you want Doe Deuce to be, Davey?
Doe Deuce will be mid-pack. It won't be that far back. It'll be mid-pack. Nashua won't burn the petrol to come over from 16.
Yep.
She'll hang around. The Deuce will be a closings type as well. Luxembourg won't go that far forward. He'll be mid-pack.
Yep. I think Measured Time will be a little forward also, Davey, in the Dolphin colors.
Yeah.
And over in Europe right now, Measured Time just became the favorite in this race. But as people are watching in the Hong Kong pools, again, the number 14 Voyage Bubble is a strong favorite here at 2-1, Davey, as they're showing. They're showing the 7, so that must have been a different horse they were showing. I apologize for everyone, but Lord North looks to be fine.
I think it was. It was just late getting there. Okay. So they're loading in now anyway.
They are.
As I say, there's about 7 horses in here with no chance, and one or two of those will make the running.
Davey's got Doe Deuce. I've got Measured Time. Measured Time is breaking from the 4 gate. Doe Deuce is breaking from the 5 gate. Davey, good luck. Good luck to everyone in the $5 million Group 1 Dubai Turf. And about half the field is loaded right now, Davey.
Yeah.
They are gonna be flying late. This is a fun race. Again, Lord North, a 2-time defending champion. Davey is really hoping for Doe Deuce. I'd be fine with Doe Deuce winning, although in terms of price, I would prefer selfishly Measured Time. And I think Luxembourg also has a very interesting chance here, even though
Luxembourg is a serious Group 1 horse. You know, I mean, it probably needed its race in Saudi Arabia, and it was drawn 16. You know, it's the same reason why I wouldn't back Nashua in this race. You know, way too wide. So it's a 3-horse race for me. You know, after you break down the 9 possibilities, there's three. If you're playing the trifecta, you want to play Doe Deuce.
There we go, Davey. Davey, they're off. Doe Deuce broke slow, by the way. And the number 8, Luxembourg, is going to be close to the lead. Measured Time, the 10, is in a great spot for me, sort of drafting in behind. And it looks like the number 13 is taking that Straight Air in one of those long shots you said. Right. But Luxembourg is up close, Davey, now just angled to the outside in second. Nashua is going to be wide. Doe Deuce, Davey, is on the inside rail, about 8th. Is he a little too far back for your liking?
No, not right now. I mean, I'm behind you by 10 or 15 seconds.
Okay, so I apologize. I won't spoil it for you. I'm going to have to call the race, Davey. So if you want to mute me, Davey, feel free. Again, they're on the far turn, and it looks like this is Dana and Beluga, I believe, is on the lead. They're showing.
No,
it's not. They're showing Dana and Beluga. That's not correct.
No, it's not Dana and Beluga.
No. Measured Time is in behind with a lot of horse, I believe you can find room for me. And they hit the top of the stretch. Let's see what happens here. Here comes measured time in between. Come on, measured time. On the outside, there's horses coming. Namur and Factor Cheval, Davy. Bombs away, Davy. Bombs away.
I'm just saying it. Yeah, a terrible ride from Takataki.
Again, I apologize, everyone. I'm trying to watch, and it's not easy to tell what's going on. But Factor Cheval, who was 20-1 in Europe, 25-1 in Hong Kong, I believe, just got the bob over Namur, another price, and Damon Beluga gets third. The number 10, measure time fourth. We were fourth and fifth, Davey, not that far off, but not good enough. It is bombs away here in the Dubai turf.
Demoralizing. The horse broke badly, but he should have taken his. He decided to take his medicine when really he should have gone wider. And hey, there you go. You can't factor in the horse breaking badly, and he did.
You've got 25-1 over. I'm trying to get the numbers here. I just wasn't prepared for these numbers to come in, to be honest. Over 28-1, Davey. This is a huge exacta with the likely horses underneath there coming fourth and fifth. And Damon Beluga ran well also. The numbers on the bottom of the screen were not correct. So, again, I apologize. I'm just watching the replay here. Measured time at every shot. I thought he ran well, just wasn't good enough. Doduce was flying. But that didn't work out for you. Only lost by 2.5 lengths, Davey. 2 lengths about.
I mean, what can you tell? You can't tell these jockeys. I mean, they know what they know. They I don't ride the horses, but the horse broke badly, and he took a decision to tuck him inside on the rail, or maybe he got trapped on the rail. But the horse would have had enough stamina to go around, for this distance, and he had enough speed.
In this type of race, Davey, these are some of the highest class races you will see all year. I know it's only March. This horse, I'm going to go ahead and bring up his PPs on the screen right now, Davey. We'll just talk about it. As painful as it might be, we have to educate our viewers here.
Well, he was a good...
Factor Cheval. I'm not familiar with this trainer, I have to be honest.
French trainer,
was going a mile. A 5-year-old who, has been in some Group 1s, Group 2s from France, but I guess the punters didn't think the distance was going to fit him. This is Team Valor, by the way, as well.
Yeah. Well, I had him on my list to talk about as being the bridesmaid and his second to Paddington in the Sussex Stakes, but it was only a 5-runner race. So he was always thereabouts, but we didn't really get time to go horse by horse. He was definitely one of the 9 that had a shout. But great riding, Maxime Guillaume, French champion jockey, of course.
I mean, he only had one run at this distance in the Prix d'Ispahan at Longchamp in May last year, Group 1, and almost won the race. But it's just interesting that this horse has mainly been campaigned, Davey, over 1,600, but he took to this 1,800 like a glove.
Yeah, he sure did. He would have been in a, if you would have played a trifecta, he would have been in your box of 5 for it for sure. But I went all in on Deduce, and that's just the game,
Yeah, take a stab. Everything is really blown up for me in the last 3 races, Davey. Got off to a good start. It was a little chalky, including the Godolphin Mile horse we were talking before he went on air, who I liked a little bit. The Doug O'Neill horse. It's been an interesting mix of long shots and chalks today. Davey, I have no bets going right now. I'm assuming you don't have any live bets either.
Well, I have a scrunch.
Okay. That's no good. Every punter, no matter if you're from the United States, the UK, India, Japan, everyone understands the throwing away of the bet.
Yeah, that was it.
All right. Well, Davey, we have a lot of time. I believe this is when they do their fireworks and they've got a whole show that they're going to be putting on.
I'd be curious to see what it paid. I mean, if I go on the Hong Kong website, what the trifecta played on that bet. So
yeah, well, it's not going to be in here for a while. Davey, let's do this. I'm going to take a few comments from our wonderful chatters out there. Then I think we'll take a short break, and then we'll talk about the Dubai Sheema Classic, which is going to be one hell of a race. I really don't think there's going to be long shots winning that race, although you never know. The Sheema Classic is absolutely loaded this year. I'm very excited to see that race, including the return of the Breeders' Cup champion and one of my personal favorites, Auguste Rodin. But he has his hands full in this race. Davey, let's go take a look at some commenters right now in the chat. Let's see here. We've got Henry Collins mentioned you can also bet Niver Bets and Twin Spires. That's terrific. Nick Feldman's here putting his pick 3. Unfortunately, that went down the drain along with many other people here. Katie wants to know who had the French winner here. I'm assuming not too many. Tom Espinoza again from San Francisco, Davey, the bottom of the screen. Scrunch is a much nicer term than my effing losing ticket. Yeah. Tom, we hear you, Tom. We get it. Yep. So here's what we're going to do, Davey. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a short commercial break, as they say, let everyone sort of catch their breath. Again, we have 2 more races that we're going to be showing. The Dubai Sheema Classic, which is a $6 million purse. It's a mile and a half and 10 meters. Actually, it's 2,410 meters. It's going to be a great race. And then we will come back and talk about that race. And of course, we have the Dubai World Cup coming up with Saudi Cup champion Senior Buscador. Some very good horses from Japan and whatnot. So you see on the banner, we are going to be taking about a 2-minute break here, and we will be, let me put that screen. We will be right back right here. It's Howard Kravitz and Davy Lane, the HHH Racing Podcast, live coverage of Dubai World Cup Day. We'll be right back, folks. Thank you. righty, we are back here live on the HHH Racing Podcast. Looks like we have about 37 minutes to post. So, Dave, we have plenty of time to talk about this next race. I think that last race just goes to show you that when you put a lot of, Group 1, Group 2, Grade 1, Grade 2 types together, even if they're not necessarily meant for the distance, any of these horses can run a cracking good race at any time. And especially when you have horses coming off layoffs, Davey, you never really know for sure. That's what makes this particular night so much fun and so difficult as well.
Yeah, and you have to be able to pull together the form of all the jurisdictions of places you're not necessarily following all the time. I mean, if you're looking at it, I'm looking at the race now, the replay, and there's 5 horses. It looks like even though obviously there was the front 2 were neck and neck, but when you look at it from another angle, it looks like the first 5 were all pretty close together at some level. That's an optical illusion, but those were the best. Those were the best horses. Beluga, Deduce, Measured Time, and then Namur and Factor Cheval. And both milers actually, Namur and so that was a key. A lot of people like to go with the cutback, but both of these sort of stretched out.
Dave, you mentioned that there's sort of a highway that's a very long stretch. Do you think the fact that it's a quick turf surface and it's a longer stretch sort of helps the milers because they can wait, and then just use that acceleration as opposed to a track that might have a tighter turn where they have to make quicker decisions?
Yeah, but there's also it's a 16-horse field, and there's a lot goes wrong in the draw. And once if this had been a 12-horse field, even Deduce would have had more space to get out, and he didn't. And you can't factor. The horse might be thinking of eating a carrot tomorrow or something. I mean, but he's sitting in the gate, and then he doesn't break out. You don't know. I mean, and that's an intangible that you can't really factor in, no matter how many past performances, because that horse doesn't have a history of necessarily doing that.
For sure.
So
we have Chris Couples is here, who's an excellent handicapper. Chris is suggesting, Davey, that I needed that break to get my Gulfstream Park Pick 5 ticket in because, as USA Punters know, Gulfstream is starting very early today. They're actually starting in about 5 minutes. Chris, don't worry. I got that bet in before I went on live, so don't you worry about that because Gulfstream is going to be starting in 5 minutes. We have Marco Fonseca is here. Avian Hesse Carrera en Español todos no entendemos inglés. That's okay, Marco. He does not speak English. That's okay. No problem. Marco, buenos dias. Thank you for joining the show. I appreciate it, man. We got people from all over the world joining us. Davey, we better work up on our Spanish because we're going to the Spanish Derby in June, aren't we?
Okay.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Say, me gusto, caballeros.
Yeah.
All right. Davey.
Estoy con stupido.
Yeah, exactly. I feel stupid after that race. It's been I will say, look, Davey, I think it's really important to be transparent. I've talked about this a lot on this show. Early part of the card, very good. Last few races, complete disaster for me. I don't want to speak for you. Just because I didn't like this horse that just won at all. It only takes one, Davey. And as punters, we know if there's one race left, there's a chance to get back. So I'll be playing a double. I'm going to play a very big double this race into the next. We're going to talk about it. Davey, let's show on the bottom of the screen first our picks in this race. And what you're going to see at the bottom is not a misprint, ladies and gentlemen. We are both going with the same top 3 horses in race 8 at Dubai. We'll go through the horses here in a minute. This $6 million Sheema Classic, like I said, it's just over a mile and a half. They will start in front of the grandstand, Davey. So it is a 2-turn race. So it is a relatively short run in the first turn, but I don't think that's really going to be much of an issue. Although I suppose you don't want to be on the far outside. Yeah. I'm going to show Davey. I'm going to show the 2 different odds right now out of respect to everyone throughout the world who's watching. I'm going to show first the field and the odds in what you're saying is the Hong Kong pool, which is also the United States pool. Yeah. And then I will show what it looks like overseas, and then we'll get into the betting. And Davey, you'll be interested in seeing this because you don't see the Hong Kong/USA pool. So let's bring it on.
I do, because I'm on the Hong Kong Jockey Club's website.
You do have it. Okay. So
right.
Again, this is not post position order. This is saddlecloth order. We have Junko, who is the one horse at 14-1. Justin Pals Davies taking money. And I don't know how I feel about that. I guess I feel good about that because that means he's live. That's our top choice, who was, I believe, like 12-1 in the morning line odds in the United States past performances. He's the 2-horse 5-1. Point Lonsdale is a roughie at 53-1. Rebels Romance, who won the Breeders' Cup Turf 2 years ago at Keeneland, if I recall, is 13-1. Shariar 19-1. Ran a big race in Santa Anita when I saw in person with a better ride. Might have actually had a chance to win the thing. He is 19-1. You got Sim Camilli, who's a long shot for James Doyle at 50-1. Sisfahan, nice horse, a little past his prime, a big long shot. Spirit Dancer, 27-1. There's Auguste Rodin, 9-5 right now, the favorite in this race. Emily Upjohn, a very talented mare coming off a long layoff, was 14-1. Stars on Earth, 14-1, Davey. That is pretty high odds for a very talented horse who was not that far off Liberty Island last time when they ran against the Monster Equinox. And then Liberty Island, a very talented filly who is 2-1 right now. Davey, I'm going to switch over to the European betting, and you see there Auguste Rodin is the prohibitive favorite, 3-2. Liberty Island 10-3. Then Emily Upjohn. Look at Justin Palace, 12-1 in the UK pools, 5-1 maybe in the Hong Kong USA pools. Before we get into these races, this race in particular, with the hand punting, Davey, what do these odds tell you at either location?
Well, I tell you what you've just said. I mean, the champion jockey for many years in Hong Kong was João Moreira, the Magic Man. And the Hong Kong punters are sitting in there, and it's the evening time. The Americans are just waking up and getting their ham and eggs and whatever, and they're punting the guy they know. So that's why he's 5-1. He's 12-1 on the UK market. He's probably should be somewhere in between.
And then you've got Auguste Rodin. Now, let's talk about Auguste Rodin. Actually, let me go ahead and show up the PPs here, David. Again, we have plenty of time to talk about this race as I switch over. I got a lot of things to press here, so give me 1 second here, Davey. Let's go to race 8. Okay. Now, what people are going to see on the screen are the post position. So, Point Lonsdale breaks in the rail. Who would you like to talk about first, Davey? Should we talk about our top choice, Justin Palace?
Yeah. What? Yeah, go with that.
All right, let's talk about Justin Palace here, Davey. I'm going to go full screen. Justin Palace, first of all, is a horse that is going to come from behind, ladies and gentlemen. This is a closer. I just want everyone to be aware that this horse should be coming more towards the back. You see the 11-1 morning line in our past performances. I want to talk about the last race. We're not going to show replays for a lot of reasons, but the last race, which was the Arima Kinen, it was a Group 1 in Japan in December. He faced Do Deuce and Stars on Earth. Do Deuce, who was a bit disappointing in the race we just saw, won the race. Justin Palace came from far back and was a legit Davy, 4 or 5 wide into a pace that didn't really look that fast. I thought he ran huge that day, but maybe even more impressive was his run 2 back and 3 back, where he only lost by 1 length and 2 lengths to the best horse in the world in 2023. And frankly, one of the best horses we've probably seen in the last 10 years in Equinox. How do you talk about Justin Palace, Davey?
Well, yeah, I mean, Justin Palace is just in context. I mean, just before we go back to the Deuce for 1 second, the Deuce probably decided to run in the Dubai turf because he was avoiding the filly. Probably, but Justin Palace couldn't really go back to a 9 furlong race, not avoiding the filly. But they're much on a par, and so just to get that out of the way, this horse has not fired on a couple of occasions. That happens with horses. It's the same with Auguste Rodin. There's a couple of occasions where that didn't fire. As a 3-year-old, it didn't fire, I recall. So they've brought this horse back. They basically decided to go with the long distances for this horse, and it excelled. It did well, and it's been brought back to the middle distance races. And it's been running up against Equinox and finishing third, very close. So on that form, it has to be considered. It has to be considered a serious hope. But will it be too far back when we've got 4 or 5 very, very serious seasoned middle distance horses going against him, as well as the Japanese filly and so on. So I don't know.
He's going to have to work out a trip for the USA punters. By the way, they're going into the gates at Gulfstream Park, and so it's a very long day here in the United States, Davey. But we got the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby, 2 major preps for the Kentucky Derby. So it's a big day here in the United States. Let's go ahead.
I mean, after the cutback, after winning the 2-mile races, the Tenno Show, it cut back third to Equinox in the Tarazuka Kinnan, 1 mile 3 furlongs, 2.5 lengths second to Equinox in the Tenno Show over 1 mile 2 furlongs. So they're right to bring him back. And as you say, he was unlucky in that race with that deduce one. So he's a contender. He's right there. Will he be too far back? I don't know. This horse was 25 to 1 a few weeks ago. So he's come into 12s, and now he's getting played because of the jockey.
Yeah, I think, it's going to be very trip dependent for him. We'll see how it works out. He's going to have to work out a trip, obviously. But, if he can work out the trip, I'm fully convinced he's one of the more talented runners in this field. It's just going to depend on whether he can get the correct trip. Let's talk about, let's just go in order by post a little bit. Let's talk about Emily Upjohn next, who is a very talented mare, has won some big races, including the Coronation Cup at Epsom last year, and the British Champions filly and mare. She's going up against the boys, but she's done it before. For me, the long layoff is a bit of a concern, but it's less of a concern in general for the European runners.
Yeah, and this horse, like Justin Palace and like Augustin Rodin, which we'll talk about in a moment, has also bombed out in a few races. So in the King George, it was basically bombed out. So they're not afraid to try them and lose at them, these horses. So, but it was an easy winner of the Coronation Cup at Epsom, beating Westover, and that form's franked by the Arc de Triomphe form, and a second short head to Tuesday in the Oaks, and which Nashua was 3 and so many lengths behind. So again, it's right up there. One thing to note is the connections. In the autumn, when people were asking what they're going to do, is the horse going to go to the breeding sheds or what have you? They pointed at this race. So this is not an afterthought they had, this is the plan. So it shouldn't be overlooked. I don't think she's quite as good as the Japanese filly myself, but we'll see.
Okay. I tend to agree with you there. Let's move on to another horse here. Let's talk about Augusta Rodin.
Okay.
There's a story with this horse for me a little bit. I was so proud, Davey, as you well know, to have the one and only Aidan O'Brien on this very show before the Breeders' Cup last year. It was a wonderful, as we say in the States, a wonderful get for us to have Aidan O'Brien on the show. He couldn't be more of a gentleman. We talked about this horse quite a bit, and he was the soft 5-2 favorite in the Breeders' Cup turf, and he won with an unbelievable ride. Just a fantastic ride by Ryan Moore, up the rail, beating some very nice horses, including an extremely talented American up to the mark who ran a game second in that race. Let's talk about him today. All indications is he's ready to go. If the O'Brien horse Tower of London is any indication, you'd have to believe Auguste Rodin is ready, because Tower of London looked very good earlier on the card in the 2-mile Gold Cup. I have 2 things I do want to bring up. One is he got an absolutely perfect trip in the Breeders' Cup Classic, or excuse me, the Breeders' Cup Turf, and
Right.
I can't see him getting a better trip today, number one. Number two, this is a much, much tougher field than he faced in California. So I'm not suggesting he can't win. I'm not suggesting that he won't win. But for me, as a punter, based on the price, I would definitely not, in my opinion, bet him on the win end at odds on. Davey, your thoughts on Augusta Redan?
Two things about that, about the perfect trip. The horse was very tractable. It followed instructions, and he was put where Moore wanted him to be.
Yes.
And he stayed there, and he didn't get excited, and he wasn't concerned, and he moved along on the back stretch, and everything was fine. The important thing for me is that when the gap came, he went through it. Mm-hmm. He went through it at the right speed to get ahead. Now, not every horse does that. So that tells me two things: that the horse has got acceleration, the horse is intelligent, it goes for the open space, and I look at that as much more than just a perfect trip. I give credit to the horse there as well as the jockey. So I look at it that way. Second thing, what you were just saying about the market and the price and so on, this may not be a Hong Kong bet as well, because this price has been dropping for the last 24 hours on the UK markets. So that would tell you that maybe the Irish lads have actually had a few suitcases themselves on the horse. Because for the weeks and months ahead of this race, Liberty Island was the initial favorite. Well, I don't know, like 11-4, 5-2 initially, and got shortened and shortened and shortened into sort of 9-4, 2-1, and now the contraction has stopped, and the contracting horse is Augusta Redan, and that's probably accelerated by the Hong Kong guys playing Ryan Moore. So at least if you look at the two pools together. One thing about Augusta Redan, it has bombed twice. There's rumors that it bled; those were denied. But Ryan Moore took care of the horse in both occasions. It doesn't have to be a full-on big bleed. He can just see a speckle or two and decide, well, I don't want to risk it anymore. I'm not going to pull his guts out. I'm just going to ease him up. And that's happened twice. The 2000 Guineas, which he was a hot favorite for, and then the King George, which is the big summer classic in not Royal Ascot, but the big summer classic. So that's a potential risk at a short price. But I don't see that happening on a nice hot day like this in Dubai. So So I think he's live. One thing they were doing too in the media talks, they were downplaying him a little bit. Ryan Moore was saying, "I'm surprised he's that lower price," and etc. So that tells me they didn't want the price to shorten. So maybe they are betting him, because you have to accept that the owners of Aidan O'Brien, and these guys go to the track and bet, or they bet, Yes. So that's you got to bear that in mind.
Davey, I want to bring up the double pool here in the United States and Hong Kong, because this will give us an idea of who is going to be favored in the Dubai World Cup. Right now, in the double pool, it looks like Derma Sotogake and the 11. Is that Senior Buscador? I apologize. I don't have it in front of me now. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think that is I believe that is correct.
Again, I'm just on the Hong Kong site, by the way.
Yeah.
The trifecta
the 11 is Ushba. The 11 is Ushba. The 10 is Senior. So, right, I don't see any surprises in the Dubai World Cup betting. Right now, Derma Sotogake, Ushba Chisuro, and Senior Buscador are all taking about the same amount of money. We'll talk about that race next, but I just want to bring that up, Davey, for people that are interested in the double or just want to know what the betting. Newgate, which is a United States horse, is actually taking quite a bit of money in the double, who I do not like at all. So I'm happy to see that, because I don't like Newgate at all in that race. But all of the Kabir Khan, the Russian superstar, is about fifth choice right now in the Hong Kong / American betting going forward. Just want to mention that to everyone as of right now. Davey, let's talk about. He's got a shot. Horses that are tactical make their own trip, as you've talked about. But I think what I wanted to bring up most, Davey, is he was able to save ground and ride the rail. I'm not sure that's going to happen today. Stars on Earth, very talented horse. Talk about Stars on Earth, Davey, from Japan.
Well, that's a horse with great classic pedigree too. It's won the Japanese 1000 Guineas, the Oko Show. And in that race, just edged out Namur ahead of her in that. Behind her in that race was Nomura Claire, who was just edged out in a nose in a big Group 1 sprint in Japan last week. So that all form stacks up. It went further and won the Japanese Oaks. It was second in a Group 1 against older males. So it ran a third in a mile race for 4-year-old fillies, and Songline was the winner for against 4-year-olds. And Songline was the winner of that race. And again, like many of the ruler here is Songline. I mean, we keep saying, oh, that was 4 lengths behind Songline. That was 1 3/4. Behind Equinox. And this horse was a 5-length third to Equinox in the Japan Cup. So again, it's right there or thereabouts, you know. And a half a length second to Deduce in the Arima Kinnin in December. So, I mean, the horse has been banged there every time. And it's probably the best value of all the Japanese runners in this race. You have to say, what price is he there now? She there now, 12 to 1.
Yeah, I mean there's not a lot of difference, right, between some of these horses. It's obviously going to depend on trip and a lot of other things. 12 to 1 right now. Now, Liberty Island, who is 2 to 1, co-favorite with Augusta Rodin, has done nothing wrong. It's a 4-year-old filly who was a complete monster and ran a good second to Equinox, beating Stars on Earth. They both got pretty good trips, but it's fair to say, Davey, that Liberty Island certainly has more upside and more potential than the Stars on Earth.
Yeah, and the market shows it too. I mean, this horse has demolished all contenders. 2.5 length demolition of its rivals, and there's a 2-year-old at Hanshin in their juvenile. It was 3 to 5 favorite when it won by, wide distance in 1,000 guineas. 6 lengths demolition in the Japan Oaks last year. Has 2 to 5 favorite. So this has not just been a horse that was favored. This has been a horse that has been massively favored because each run, one after the other, was increasingly good. However, that said, it came up a buck short against Equinox by 4 lengths, and its win in the Shuka show in the autumn was against the 3-year-olds. He was 2 to 5. She was 2 to 5 favorite, but she wasn't. I think there was a horse closing on her. I'm blocking on the name now, but she won, but it wasn't. It shouldn't have been that close, but it was. So that put a seed of doubt in my head.
Mass Diva was the name of the horse. Dave.
Yes. And that horse has got, if that horse materializes some point in the summer somewhere, watch out. So, but the training has been good. If you've been following the training, the Japanese training is filmed. You can see it on the YouTubes and on the Twitter. It's looked good at the track all week. So, she should be the favorite. She gets weight from the other, she should be the favorite.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Right now, she is the slight favorite. There's 13 minutes to post in the race. Davey, let's talk about a few others because there's a few comments in the chat I want to bring up and talk about it. Let's talk about a horse that that I asked you about earlier today. This is from Chris Couples. Davey, does Rebels Romance have a shot here? Now, he looked very impressive last time. Yeah. That being said, it was a pretty weak race. But I will say, Davey, and I think this is important to note, and he's up against it in general as I try to find him on the screen.
Yeah.
If you look at the time form U.S. numbers, which I'm going to show here on the screen, there we go. I'm going to go full screen here. If you look at the time form U.S., he got 114 and then got a 123 in Doha. Now, that last race was certainly not nearly the class of this, but this is a Godolphin horse who showed speed last time. I think he's going to show speed again. If he's rounding back into form, does he have at least a punter's chance, Davey?
I don't think so. It's a flat track, but I mean, I thought you were about to say we're going to discuss Junko based on.
We'll talk about him too.
We'll talk about him in a moment. I thought you were going to say that, but to me, this is a flat track bully type horse right now. Went to Doha and won an easy race, and actually could have been beaten because the horse that came up wide for second had a bad trip. So I don't rate that form at all. It's earlier Group 1s, where some German Group 1s in Cologne. and they penciled him in for races in the States to try and pick up easy prize money because they thought they would. And it got slapped in the Joe Hurst, right? Unseated its rider. Where was that?
Well, I want to say I know for a fact this horse wants firm turf. So any race that was not firm. Now it's Saratoga, and unfortunately I was there, Davey. Yeah. This is when Richard Mullen got hurt. Right. He clipped heels. It looked to be, I don't want to be too hard on the guy, but it looked like he clipped heels and it was sort of his fault. There was nothing really happened. He just got up too close. Just one of those unfortunate things. Went down and clipped heels there in that July 30th race, which is why it was a do not finish. And then in the Joe Hurst Turf Classic, yes, he didn't run great, but again, that was very soft turf that day in New York. So I would toss those out. He wants it firm. Look, when it comes to European horses, I obviously tip my cap to you. You know these horses better. But I have a feeling this horse is going to run a big race today. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he has a chance to get a placing here because I think he's going to be tactical, and I think he's in form. So I do think that Rebels Romance, while maybe not a win end, is a good horse to use underneath, in my opinion, Chris Couples.
Well, I wouldn't use him underneath in a trifecta. I'd put him underneath in a superfecta, and I'm not sure if that bet's being offered or not because
it is offered. Yes, in the United States and Hong Kong, you can bet a superfecta, which is the top 4 horses. Yes,
so
you can.
That would be the line for me. Not in the first 3. There's too many other good horses. There's too many other good horses ahead of him for that.
Fair enough. Davey, I'm starting to get a little bit excited because I'm going to try to get my my money back here, as you know. And I'm looking at some prices. I'm looking at the doubles going forward here into the next race, and I see some doubles that are pretty darn juicy for me. So I'll talk about those in a minute because you know who I love in the last race. We'll talk about that though in a little bit. Let's talk about Junko, who upset. I'm going to find him again. Here's Junko, upset the Hong Kong Vase and beat Warm Heart, who U.S. punters know because she won the Pegasus Turf in January.
Right. And Ryan Moore criticized himself on that race because he didn't press the button quick enough and so on. So, So but that horse had a flat comeback over the all-weather in Chantilly. So, who else had a flat? Lord North had a flat one as well when he trained over the sand, fiber sand in the UK. So I wasn't impressed with that. But then again, the horse that beat him, Junko, by 5 lengths could be something special going forward. So, again, it's a horse. This is a horse that you could use in a try underneath, but definitely using a superfecta underneath for sure. And the jockey's confident right now, and he's a cheeky rider. This guy, he's not, he's like Barcelona, him, Sumion. I mean, they're cheeky because they're good, So, so watch out. And this is the Wertheimers, so they're no back number. But not.
I want to mention something in the chat.
Not for the major places.
I want to mention something in the chat. We got 9 minutes to post. Some great news and some very unfortunate news, according to our live chatters. First of all, from Terry Frank, who was our guest on Thursday as a co-host, did a great job from St. Louis. Hi, Terry. Good morning. Love these shows. According to Katie, Davey, in the last race, Catnip, who was a really nice horse for Michael Stidham, apparently was put down. If that's true, that is absolutely awful, and we're really sorry to hear that. But listen, we got to give the news of the day, and I hope that's not true. But if it is true, it's a damn shame because Michael Stidham is a great conditioner here in the United States, and Catnip was an up-and-coming horse here in the States. He was obviously over his head in Dubai today, but that's really unfortunate news, Davey, if that is true. Last horse, let's talk about very quickly. Shahryar had a breathing issue last year and had surgery. This was one of your sneaky long shots on this show in the Breeders' Cup Turf, and boy, did he run to it. He was only a length off Auguste Rodin, and he came off the rail, Davey, at a very bad time. On the far turn. They actually allowed Auguste Rodin to get the rail. He ran a huge race. He came back and ran a very solid race against Dodeuce and Stars on Earth in the race we just talked about. He's a big long shot. Your thoughts on Shahryar?
Yeah, he's definitely someone to put in your trifectas. I wouldn't say the winner, but he could sneak a second place in this. Again, the wind ups made a big difference, and it's improved the horse. He's looked fantastic all week, and a lot of people watching the horses in the morning have commented how well he looks. So there's that, and this is a Japanese Derby winner. It's won this race before 2 years ago. Easier version. He almost got pipped on the line for that one. So yeah, he's thereabouts. Yeah, I wouldn't rule him out. A great value at 25-1, but is he someone who can deal with Auguste Rodin, Liberty Island, Justin Palace? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, we're going to find out. Auguste Rodin is being pounded in the UK betting. He's down to 5-4, almost odds on, Davey. Liberty Island, I got to believe, based on your opinion, Liberty Island and Justin Palace are absolutely the value in the UK market.
Right. Well, I was in a minority for weeks because I was a big fan of Auguste Rodin myself, and I'd played my anti-post bet on her. I didn't bet on Liberty Island, even though I think she's probably the favorite. But what the UK market is signifying, because a lot of UK punters might be dabbling in with a few shekels here and there, but if this horse has gone favorite like that, it means there's been suitcases of money have exchanged hands here.
Yeah, and Auguste Rodin is 5-2 here in the U.S. Davey, you need me to make a bet for you on Auguste Rodin at 5-2 here?
No, I'm done with betting. I'm not chasing. I mean, the success for me today, I have to look at it as a warm, boiling pot, but was getting the Japanese home in the UAE Derby because my multiple in the future, my cash out value has gone up sizably, and I have something to look forward to in April and May. And for me to start chasing races now after I just lost a few quid, and I'm tired because I was up all day. Don't make a bet when you're tired, folks. Really, and I'm tired, so I'm not going to chase this at all. I'm just going to watch them for what they are. I have a few multiples still floating around, so I might get a couple of hundred back out and be fine. But
Davey, your video is frozen. We can hear you just fine. For some reason, we see you, but it's frozen. So I'm not sure.
Okay, hold on. Maybe the screen just went out there. Just typing back in. Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to actually take you off the screen just for a second here, Davey. We'll get Davey back on in just a moment here. Davey makes some good points there. Look, when you're not having a great day, you don't want to chase. Now we're good, Davey. I'll bring you back on screen here. I was just saying, Davey, that's a really wise words from an excellent punter. You don't want to chase necessarily and make bad things worse. You already have a very nice future with Forever Young. I actually have a future in Forever Young also, along with Deterministic as backups to my Sierra Leone bet. It's not going to be nearly as much, but of course I want Sierra Leone to win. We have a gentleman here who's watching from I believe that's from Russia, who likes Kabir Khan, of course. So hello, sir, or young lady, whoever that is. Thanks for joining the show. Oisin Murphy is riding Derma Sotogake. I'm assuming whoever is riding Derma was on catnip, or I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe some more people can comment in the chat, Davey. But Derma Sotogake, who was supposed to be ridden by Christophe Lemaire, is now going to be ridden by Oisin Murphy. Thoughts?
Oh, interesting. Really? So
I don't know if something happened to Lemaire in the last race. Was he on? Let me see if he was on. We don't actually. I'd have to look it up. Was he riding catnip? Maybe people can give us some information on that.
Yeah, he was.
No.
Yeah, he was. He was. Yeah.
Wow, so that's too bad. That is. Well, considering I just played an unhealthy double in Derma Sotogake, that's pretty much the story of my morning, Davey. But I'm not going to change it. Oisin Murphy is very capable, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it shows you it's good. It's good to hang around, Just speaking of the outsiders we haven't discussed, Point Lonsdale there to probably make the running for Auguste Rodin. Wouldn't have him in any bets. But the other two, the Simkamile and Sishfahan, I mean, these guys are probably triple figures right now. But if you've got some pennies, I wouldn't rule either of them out for a fourth place in a super, I mean, they've gone to the big dances, Simca was a second in the Grand Prix de Paris. It won the Grade 2 Prix Niel, which was an ARC trial. It's first in the Grand Prix of Berlin. So its form is, lower quality races, but those are the races that Rebels Romance won as well. So, so I wouldn't rule that horse out for a 4th place.
Okay.
Sisfahan is a favorite of mine, former German Derby winner. And maybe it's needed to get fit, and maybe it's got one big swing in it. And, I wouldn't rule that out of a line of a small stakes superfecta. Not for a trifecta, but I wouldn't rule either of them out for a superfecta.
Yeah, there's a lot of horses you can use underneath. So apparently on Twitter, Lemaire was on catnip, and he's been taken to the hospital. I'm guessing it's not overly serious. I don't know. I shouldn't say for sure, but yeah. What a pickup for Oisin Murphy. Now we've got a few minutes here before the race. So, and I want to apologize to everyone once again. I'm trying to listen to the race call and talk at the same time, and the chiclets at the bottom were wrong, and the saddlecloth numbers are not in color. It's just a very difficult to call some of these races. There's 1 minute left. Very quickly before we go to the post, we can talk about the next race, but how much of a factor is it that Lemaire is not on and Oisin Murphy is on? He might not be familiar with Dermot Sotogake.
Well, Lemaire has been there all week. I mean, a lot of, Murphy was riding in the UK yesterday afternoon and flew out. So he wouldn't have got much sleep. He would have got there. But a lot of jockeys do that. A lot of European jockeys, Ryan Moore will ride in Sydney, Australia on Saturday morning. He'll be in Hong Kong on Sunday, and he'll be riding in the island on Monday, So it's doable. It's not a problem. But Lemaire came out for a reason, and he came out early for a reason. He came out to be with Dermot Sotogake. So, sure. So that horse, that tells me the horse was live. That the jockey itself wasn't just sort of parachuting in the day before.
They're going into the gate, Davey. I'm not going to try to call the race as we go along. I'm going to leave us on screen though, and you can feel free to comment as the race happens. But I'm going to turn the volume on in my own headset so no one can hear, so I can hear the call. And anything happens throughout the race, I'll be making some periodic calls throughout the race. Feel free to talk about the race as it goes on. Although Davey, you're behind a little bit us. Correct?
Yeah, I'm behind because I got the free viewing here. I don't have to.
All right. So Davey, why don't you go ahead and mute me so you don't hear me, because I'll be talking through the races. And I'll let you watch on your own. You don't have to stay on screen if you don't want to, Davey. And I'll talk through the race as they're loading into the gate here. This is for the $6 million Dubai Sheema Classic, the return of the Breeders' Cup Turf Champion Auguste Rodin versus the talented filly from Japan, Liberty Island, and then our long shot, the number 2, Justin Palace, coming from the back of the pack. This is going to be a great race. 1.5 miles, Group 1, $6 million on the line.
Well, they might have had just confidence boosters recently as well. Yeah, this is a seriously deep race. And they're calling his first launching Dubai Sheema Classic. Back Comerford Oils. What a pleasure it will be. Thank you very much, Tom. Looking forward to our penultimate event here. And class from top to bottom. Last 2 to load forward, Spirit Dancer and Sharia. They will complete the field here at the 2,400 meters.
They're off, and Rebels Romance on the outside is going to try to get to the lead. There's the Aidan O'Brien horse taking the lead, like you said, Point Lonsdale. And Rebels Romance is being very aggressive from the outside and is going to try to take the lead here.
Shariar up in the first group there as well with Point Lonsdale. Then came Justin Palace from Simca Mila. About 2 lengths back sees the jump.
Shariar is in a beautiful spot. And Davey, Justin Palace is up close. This is very good in my opinion. In 4th, only about 5 lengths back, Davey.
Off the track with Point Lonsdale.
I think Davey has muted me, so he can't hear what we're saying. It's absolutely fine.
Lengths off the speed. It was a length there to Justin Palace. Head on chest in fourth to shut off nicely from Stars.
So it's the Aiden O'Brien trained horse, the number 3, Point Lonsdale, making the lead right now. You have Justin Palace is not too far back. Rebels Romance is in second.
So they are strung out here as Point Lonsdale.
Pace looks relatively slow. It's hard to tell, but they look relatively slow paced to me.
Rebels Romance races in isolation in second. Third, a similar margin back there to Sharia. Followed there next in turn by Justin Palace, who's fourth and about half a dozen lengths off the leader. Stars
they hit the far turn. Nothing much has changed yet in the running.
Junko from August Rodan, Spirit Dancer, Sisfahan still last and sees them all. Inside the 1,000 metres they go, and the tempo has been moderate despite the fact that Point Lonsdale has been left to his own devices. Kip picks it up now by 3 lengths.
Justin Powell's got to get going from there, but it's a long stretch. We'll see. Now the real running is going to start right now. Rebels Run takes the lead. Justin Powell is making a run, and so is the other Japanese horse. Rebels Romance, I believe, has the lead here.
Dozen lengths off the leader, and the last one, Sisfahan.
Here comes Liberty Island from way back, but I don't think he's going to get there. Rebels Romance is going to win the Dubai Sheema Classic at pretty big odds, 25-1 in the UK, and the odds here in the States and in Hong Kong was 15-1. Rebels Romance looking fantastic. Certainly coming back to form. Wow, Davy Lane. This horse was absolutely fantastic. Chris Couples, I hope you had it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you probably have to get me off the show, Howard, because I put everyone off.
No.
Yeah. You know, the owner's horse, you know, so I mean, the owner of Medyan. I mean, you know.
Wow, Davey. I mean, I talked about him a little bit, and you know, I didn't put a wager on him, so I'm not going to sit there and say that I did. By the way, those of you at Gulfstream, I love the 2. I just want to say the 2 is one of my plays of the day in the second race at Gulfstream, Davey. I just want to tout out the 2. Possiblemente. Hopefully, I can Possiblemente win a bet here this morning. The number 2 at Gulfstream is one of my plays of the day. He's 7-2. Back to Rebels Romance. He got the jump like I thought. Liberty Island was just too far back. I can't see. It looked like I can't see who got third, Davey. Was it Shariar?
Shariar was third, yeah.
Okay.
Or second. Shariar was second. Liberty Island was third.
Okay, Shariar second. So horses that we talked about that we didn't necessarily love on top.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're very surprised and disappointed. Sorry, Davey, for your bets and for mine.
Justin Palace fourth, I think. So, yeah, and Justin Palace is still running, so he probably thinks it's a 2-mile race. So, yeah. They you know, they were going the pace. Buick got cute. You know, he got on the lead. He knows the track, and he got there early. And you know, sometimes you look at the jockeys and you wonder what they're thinking. You know, they have it on paper that they've got the better horse and they ride him to that way. And another smart jockey says, "Well, I'll sneak these 7 or 8 lengths away from you, and now try and catch me." You know. So
it just shows you that it's a very tough game. Yeah. I like the ride, by the way, by John Morera. I mean, he had the horse much closer than normal. Yeah. He wasn't going to take way back. He made a run. He just sort of flattened out late and just simply didn't have it. Rebels Romance looks like a brand new horse now. I mean, he struggled for a while. I mentioned that he never wanted soft turf. And he got a great ride by William Buick, who does not have a lot of mounts on today's card. So obviously he was very well meant. He also had recency, Davey. Maybe that played a big factor into this race.
True. But I'm watching the replay again. I mean, the horse was basically out of gas within about 4 strides of the line. I mean, you know, so he timed it perfectly. I mean, they were coming. So yeah, I'm just watching it again. We're on different times, but yeah. So not a flat track bully. I mean, these other horses just didn't show up, did they? Oh, they weren't ridden as they should have been. They should have been ridden much closer to the pace.
Yeah,
but they're scared of getting flat down the lane, aren't they? So anyway, there you go.
Yeah, and look. I mean, we got a call like I see it. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Maybe Katie maybe had Rebel there. Hopefully he did. Chris Couples did have Rebel's Romance into Ushba. That's a nice double right there for Chris Couples in the chat, Davey. He's got Rebel's Romance into Ushba. That is going to pay very well, and I think Ushba is very live. So Chris, good luck for that. He said he's just playing around. Doesn't have anything major.
It might have been one of the highest prices in a Dubai night for a Godolphin horse. Actually, I'm not sure what the price. What price was it?
On Rebel's Romance. On Rebel's Romance, Davey.
Yeah, what price was that?
15 to 1, and the UK betting 25 in the market.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that is
well. That's Thomas Spinoza is saying, and not chasing is a good strategy. Listen, if I'd chased it, I wouldn't have played Rebel's Romance, and I'd be down even.
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't chase, but I did bet decent sized doubles into Derma, but I did not have Rebel's Romance. And look, I just Davey, these last few races have been very difficult. You got with Rebel's Romance, you had that bomb in the previous turf race, you had Tuz in the sprint. These last three races have been very unlikely, in my opinion. But again, obviously, some days you're just not right, and the horse racing gods are not on your side. That's just the way it goes.
Well, we've got
David. What do you do going forward here with Rebels? Now the question now is, what do you do with Rebels Romance going forward? I mean, based on the way he's running right now, he would be a monster favorite in any United States turf race. I'm assuming they're going to keep him, in Europe now. And I mean, why come to the States when he's in this kind of form? And he can run some big races. Mention some races that you could see him running in Europe coming up here.
Well, he'd probably go to Epsom maybe for the coronation, the King George in the summer, at Ascot, King George VI, not Royal Ascot, but the King George VI. That's the middle distance race.
Okay.
But I think again. I mean, I think they'd probably try the States again, look for firm ground.
Well, he's the Breeders' Cup this year, Davey, I'm switching. The Breeders' Cup is in Del Mar in San Diego, California. So he's going to get firm turf there. You would have to believe, I know it's several months away, but you'd have to believe that is their long-term goal. Or do you think he might go Champions? Or I don't think he can get the distance in the Arc. I'm not sure he's that kind of horse.
They're not going to wait around for September and October for the Irish champions, the English champions, and the Arc, where it could be boggy ground. So I would expect them to take the Midsummer Classic at Ascot, or if they're not doing that, they would look to sweep up, these the Joe Hirsch's again and these kind of races, right? I mean these.
Well, there's no guarantee he's going to get firm ground in the States in the fall. Now in the summer, I think the Sword Dancer would be in play, there is a race on Belmont Stakes Day, which is actually being run at Saratoga the next 2 years, Davey. It's called the Manhattan. So I think there's definitely races in the United States, and now I see I've frozen up, which there we go. That almost never happens. There are races in the States where he'd probably get firm, and he'd be a prohibitive favorite right now if he runs this way.
That's what he'll do, I think, because they already tried it before.
What about the Japanese? Do you think they'll go to Europe or go back home? Well, what's your guess?
They'll go back home and regroup.
Even the filly that ran a good third there?
Yeah. There's plenty of prize money and races for them over there. You're heading into the European season now, and the early Group 1s in France will be over soft probably, and then you're into Europe, and then it can be anything in the summer in Europe. So, so I think you'll see him in the States.
Let me do it. Let me take care of a few administrative items here while we have time.
Yeah.
First of all, please, despite our suggestions and our tips, the horse we're tipping out today on the show, everyone knows I think what we're capable of doing. Please look below the video player. Great Power Picks tip sheet. It's very inexpensive. It's very profitable. Look below the video player. Just click the Show More button. The Show More button. Excuse me, and you can
Yeah.
find out more about our tip sheet. We also have a really good website, hhhracingpodcast.com. We have a lot of pics. We have pictures, videos, upcoming shows. We just got a lot on there. Great information, stories written by Paul Halloran, who, Davey's an excellent journalist who followed the Cody's Wish story and is writing a book on Cody's Wish. We're also on Instagram as well, instagram.com/HHH Racing Podcast. So we really appreciate. We have a ton of people watching live, not only on the YouTube channel but also on X through our particular channel there. So we've got a lot going on. Davey, here's what we're gonna do. Oh, go ahead.
Go on. I was going to say, let's try and give the viewers at home a trifecta to cheer on.
Yeah.
In this
Listen, if anyone thinks we're going to give up, I mean, you're crazy. I mean, this is the Dubai World Cup, and one of my favorite touts of the entire day is coming up. And Davey, that's not just me, saying it. All along, I've been big on this horse coming up here in the Dubai World Cup. And selfishly, in the Saudi Cup, I was pretty good because I liked Senor Buscador. I liked Ushba quite a bit. And so the Saudi Cup last month worked out pretty well for us. Hopefully, we can do the same in Dubai. But here's what we're going to do, Davey. We're going to let you enjoy your beverage. I think I need a beverage of alcoholic variety the way things are going this morning. We're going to take a quick maybe you got a mimosa or a nice drink for me, a morning drink here. But I'm going to take a quick break here. We're going to be back. I'm going to give about 3 or 4 minutes. So everyone have a chance to stretch your legs, take a nice break here. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about the premier race of the day, the Dubai World Cup, coming up right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. It is a $12 million Group 1 race. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. Stay tuned to the HHH Racing Podcast. righty, we are back here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Davy Lane is getting himself set up. Dave, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go here. All right, Davy's all set. Davey, I was thinking before we get into the Dubai World Cup, it's pretty shocking to me. Two things. Number one, that a horse like Rebels Romance, especially in the UK, would go off at such a big price. It just shows you how little respect that they had, for Rebels Romance there. And the second thing is Auguste Rodin. I'll have to watch the replay. He was nowhere to be found. I'm not sure what happened. Do you have any idea what happened to Auguste Rodin?
No idea before, but that fits the part. That fits the form. There's some races he just gets bombed out. Maybe it was this bleeding thing. Maybe more saw a speck of blood and he decided to just slow him down. I don't know. I haven't seen the race. When you're broadcasting like we are, it's harder to unless you're in ground control Houston situations. It's harder to actually have your finger on every pulse and watch stuff. It really is. I always say this, but credit to everyone who works professionally in the game. And you see people criticize a lot of people. Oh, this guy is it's not easy to do what you do or to do what any of these guys do.
Well, I appreciate what makes it harder is that the chiclets at the bottom of the screen are wrong right now. Yeah. And the saddle cloths are not different colors like they are in the United States. And so I'm debating, Davey, whether to even have us on the screen as the race goes on. I think people like to see our reactions. I mean, that's part of the reason why we have these shows. So I think we'll leave ourselves on for the Dubai World Cup. Hopefully it'll be easier to tell what's going on. Davey, I see 14 minutes to the Dubai World Cup. So we got to be pretty quick here. Let me go ahead and show on screen right now the odds in Hong Kong and the U.S. for the $12 million Dubai World Cup. Clapton 36-1. Krupi 16-1 for Pletcher. Defunded, a former Baffert horse, 26-1. Dermisota Gake with Oshin Murphy riding now, 7-2. Derma Rede from Japan, 24-1. Kabir Khan, the Russian wonder from Kazakhstan originally, an unbelievable story, 9-2. Laurel River will show a lot of speed, a former Baffert horse years back, 9-1. Military Law, 32-1. Newgate for Frankie Dettori and Baffert, 5-1. Senor Buscador, last month's Saudi winner, excuse me, 5-1. Ushpa Tesoro, heartbreaking loss in the Saudi Cup to Senor Buscador, 7-2, and then Wilson Tesoro, 30-1. Let's look at the UK market right now. Dave Dermosota Gake has a soft favorite at 3-1 in the market, followed by his fellow countryman Ushpa Tesoro at 4-1. Kabir Khan 9-2, Newgate 7-1, Laurel 9. Look at Senor Buscador all the way out to 9-1, the Saudi Cup winner, and Krupi 16. Let's talk first about the markets, Dave. Your thoughts based on the markets.
Well, Dema Sadagaki on my bookie is 9-4, not 3-1. And, wow. And the bookie I'm using usually gives bigger prices to attract customers. So I would say that's a hot favorite right now. I think people wouldn't be betting the Kabir Khan because they'd be unsure about what to make of the Russian form. Not often people study Moscow Hippodrome PPs, do they?
No, they do not.
You're right. So Ushpa Tesoro, the last year's winner, obviously. So the top three in the market look the right ones. I mean, the 4, the 6, and the 11. So that looks the right. That looks the right 1, 2, 3. Right? I don't see anyone breaking into that. So if you want to try and win a bit of money, maybe you want to look who's going to be the 4th in that race. Box those first 3 and look for and put a few underneath.
Right. The 6, I believe, is the 11's Ushpa, and the 6 is Kabir Khan. Let's talk about Dermisota Gake. And I don't have our choices at the bottom of the screen, and so let me go ahead and fix that right now. Who are your top 3 are 5, 4, 10, correct, in this race? Or no?
I'm looking at my notes.
No, I'm sorry, that's not correct. Who are your top 3, Davey?
Wasn't it the? Well, it should have been the 4, the 6,
6, 5. Excuse me, 4, 6, 5.
4, 6, 5.
4, 6, 5.
4, 6, 5. Yeah, I went with the price underneath. Durede.
I'm going for Ushba's the 11, correct? Or is Ushba the 10?
Yeah.
11 is Ushba?
Yeah. Ushba's the 11.
I'm going 4-11-6. So let me save this and bring it up on our screen so people can see here. There's our picks on the bottom of the screen. Davey, I know he's the favorite, but I like Dermot Sotogake a lot in this spot.
Me
He
too.
had a little bit of an eye issue and some training issues before the Saudi Cup. I thought he ran really well in the Saudi Cup, despite that, finishing only 2.5 lengths back, not being at his best. I thought he ran a monster race in the Breeders' Cup Classic to White Abario, who was really in form at that time. He's a 4-year-old horse who's got upside, and I just think he's going to sit a right trip. And I just think today is his day. Your thoughts on Dermot Sotogake, your top choice also?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think this is the winner. But one thing I have to say is that even the races where people say, such as the Saudi race last time, like he didn't fire, or the Kentucky Derby where he was 6th, he had some hard luck situations in that race in Kentucky and in Saudi. He was probably prepping for this because this is their target, because they know he ran well over this last year. So, and Lemaire's been there for the whole week, and sod's law, he gets knocked off the 66-1 outsider in an earlier race and he can't ride it. So I think Derma's the winner, and then it's a case of boxing the rest for the lower places. And Kabir Khan might be in that. He'll get tried against better horses for the first time, but I mean, he looks good when he's racing. I mean, he looks like he's just gliding, like he's got more to give. So I wouldn't discount him. Usbar, you want a closer. Maybe the race won't set up for a closer. So maybe it's good to take something else underneath, and that's why I like Durede, who's raced in all the big races against these big Japanese dirt horses and done well with them. And he's a former turf horse.
David, can we go back to Kabir Khan a second? This horse is coming from Kazakhstan. There are videos of his first win in Kazakhstan, and the track is just, there's no outer rail. It looks like they're running through a jungle. It's an incredible story. This horse is that good. And he won legitimately well in January. He's been working well over the track. I think he's a great story. If he wins this race, that would just be, it's like for the United States punters, it's like a horse running from like Mahoning Valley or like Delta Downs and being the best horse in the world. I mean, literally coming from very small tracks. It would just be an unbelievable story for this horse. But he's trained by an expert conditioner in Doug Watson, and so he is very live. There's Dura Arete. Let's go to Ushba Tesoro, who what a heartbreaking loss in Saudi. I liked him in Saudi. I also liked him in Santa Anita. That race didn't quite work out for him. He definitely wants distance. If you want a horse that's going to be the most reliable and the most dependable in this race, I think it's Ushba Tesoro. For sure. He's gonna knock up, but he might not get there in time if the pace isn't right. So, and given what happened today with a couple of horses, having gut busters in Saudi, such as Saudi Crown, maybe he'll feel it as well. So, so that's why I'd like Derma on top. Kabir Khan is right there, and I think the trick is to find something at a big price to come in for third place. And we'd love to have people's thoughts in the chat. Please keep commenting in the chats here. Matt Miller, our good friend Matt Miller is here. I was hoping to wake up to see you live on Big Pick 6 tickets. Strange they didn't offer it. What's up, Matt? Thanks for the show. We don't know. It's good, Matt. We would have lost it for sure. There's some 3 horses that were very difficult to have. So, but Matt, thanks for joining the show. We got Jason Wallace is here. I purchased the Power Picks yesterday. How do I get them? Jason, you should have gotten them through your email. Jason, I will. Market move, Howard. Yes. Market move. Kabir Khan has just come in from 4-1 to 3-1 in the UK market. Yeah. Okay. Jason Wallace in the chat. You should have gotten them right through your email. Why don't you email me, Jason Wallace? Let me put up my banner for Jason. We got to take care of the peeps here, Davey, as we're live. Right there on the bottom of the screen, Jason Wallace. I hope you're watching. hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. I'll let it scroll one more time. hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Jason, you can take a picture of the scroll. Email me, Jason. I will get them to you right after the show is over here. You haven't missed anything with the Power Picks, Jason, because all those picks are for later today. So again, there it is at the bottom of the screen, Jason, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. So we got to take care of Jason, and hopefully he'll email me, and I'll get those to him.
One funny aside to bear in mind, when you're talking earlier about Kabir Khan and that countryside track and so on and so forth, when looking at other jurisdictions, I mean, a lot of that race, there was filmed with drones and overhead cameras showing all sorts, So at one level, it may have been a giggle, or look at this country track without the rail on the outside. But there was some high-tech visuals of that race as well.
There was. It was actually very good viewing purposes. Yeah. But the track had puddles, and I don't know if there was any stands, and I don't know. Anyway, we've got Leonardo Pereira. Hola, Leonardo. Desde Venezuela, ligaremos a Señor Buscador con nuestro jinete Professor Junior Alvarado. He's a big fan of Junior Alvarado. He's from Venezuela. Leonardo, ¿cómo estás? Thanks for joining the show. Davey, it's so cool with YouTube that there are people literally all over the world, Davey, watching us tip out these horses. It's just a lot of fun, isn't it? This format's great.
It really is, and it's let's hope that the racing world can actually catch up to where the punters are, because we tried to look at bets this morning and not offered, and this wasn't here, and so on.
Yes,
it's trying to get the engine moving globally, and I know the World Pool is doing that, but maybe the World Pool is what's responsible for the pick six not happening today. I don't know what the background legal stuff is, but there's Or maybe it was just a failure of their systems. I don't know, but the racing world needs to cop on and get into the next century. Really, it does, across the jurisdictions.
Davey, let's talk about two horses quickly. We got 5 minutes left. JJ Tids in the comment leads right into my comment I want to make. What's the pace scenario, Davey? I am completely and totally against Senor Buscador in this race. I do not like Senor Buscador at all, and as you know. We're all right and wrong at times. I did like him quite a bit in Saudi because I thought there'd be a pace meltdown. That helped us cash for $10,000 with myself, you, and Phil. JJ, I do not see a lot of pace in this race. I think Laurel River on the outside, JJ, is going to go forward, and he run very well last time going a mile. He used to be a very talented horse. I suppose the way things are going today, Davey, this horse wires the field, but who knows? Laurel River is going to go from the outside. And I hope, JJ, that Dermo Sotogake, my top choice, and Davies, is sitting not too far off him. I think Dermo's got some early speed and will use that early speed, but there is not a lot of confirmed early pace. I would not be surprised if Newgate goes forward in this race, or Frankie Dettori. I got to say, Davey, if Newgate wins this race, a lot of horses did not show up. I don't like Newgate at all. I don't think he's really even, anything special here in the United States, even though he won last time. That was a weak Group 1, Grade 1 in Santa Anita. I don't get the Newgate love. I guess it's Frankie and Bob Baffert love. I don't understand Newgate right now, who's 6-1 in our betting pools, as we have about a minute post. Final thoughts on this race, Davy Lane.
Well, I'm going to play a combination try. Dermo Sotogake. Well, I'm pushing it. Dermo Sotogake, Dura Rede, Kabir Khan, and Uzba Tesoro. I think Dermo will finish first. I think Kabir Khan second, and I think Dura Rede will hold on for third, because he'll be close to the pace, and he's a good horse, and he'll be in the right position, and he's a great price right now, 50-1. So that's the way I'd go. Those four.
American punters are not shy, Dave. You look at the bottom of the screen. Vashawn Welsh. I'm sure he's being a bit cheeky. I'm putting my mortgage on Laurel River and Ujpa Tesoro. Vashawn, man, good luck. I hope you win this bet for yourself and buy a mansion so you don't have to worry about a mortgage. Look, people are firing for sure, Davey. I like your strategy. I think Dermo Sotogake has a big shot. I think today is his time. And I won't say exactly what I bet, but I will tell people I made one bet, Davey, and that is a healthy, large win bet for me on Dermo Sotogake. And I will say, if Dermo Sotogake wins, I'm not going to get out for the day, but I'll get about half out for the day. So I'm just all in on I'm pushing my chips all in on Dermo Sotogake. I think the interesting part about this race, or the big story to me, is what Kabir Khan does. Because if this horse wins this race, that would just be one of the stories of the year, no matter what happens going forward. He's by California Chrome, by the way, a very popular United States sire here. Of course, won this race and won many other big races. He looks great on track. And you mentioned to me earlier that Kabir Khan, the 6, who is right now 9-2 in the Hong Kong and American betting, has looked great on the track all week long.
Yeah, he really has. And, maybe that's the Quinella. Maybe the forecast is Derma and Kabir Khan. Maybe that's the play.
Right now, Derma is getting a saddle adjustment, it looks like. He looks like he's fine. He's getting a girth and a saddle adjustment. I don't think it's a big deal, but I just don't like seeing this in general, Davey. I don't know if you see this on your feed.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm behind. I'm looking at Kabir Khan right now. I don't see that right now.
He doesn't look agitated. They're fixing the girth and they're fixing the saddle.
It happens. It doesn't,
It happens. I still don't like seeing that. He seems pretty calm right now. That's not a good sign for me selfishly. He's very calm, and Oisin Murphy looks, he is off the horse right now. I just want to mention that as anyone who's watching the TV, at least on YouTube and perhaps FanDuel TV here in the States, sees the same thing. I'm wondering if his price is going to drift up a little bit because of this. I'm very curious to see. It looks like they fixed everything. With a new rider, also maybe they had, that's an adjustment they had to make with the saddle, right? Yeah. I mean, maybe they had something planned, and now Oisin Murphy said, "I'm not real comfortable," and they had to fix things. And this is just not ideal in any way, shape, or form.
It's not ideal, but and the horse has a red hood on as well, which means they're trying to protect him from getting some background noise and what have you. I'm watching it a few seconds later anyway. So maybe hold off on having a big win bet if you're.
You know what, Davey? I don't even know what to do. This day's been a semi-disaster selfishly for me. We've had many good days on the show. Sometimes, it doesn't work out. The problem for me, Davey, is I don't love anyone else. I mean, I guess I could switch to Ushba, but I don't know if it's going to favor a closer. Laurel River is down to 6-1, by the way.
Right.
I'm almost tempted to bet him. I'm almost tempted to switch my bet. I know I probably shouldn't do that, but Derma got back on. He looks fine. I mean, I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to do I am going to do an exacta though. Laurel River and Ushba over Derma Sotogake. I'm going to place that bet if I can get it in here in a second, because I'll tell you what, Laurel River is taking a lot of money, Davey. And maybe speed is playing well there. I don't know.
Right.
It's interesting. I think that's going to be a little play on the side for me. I still believe in Derma Sotogake. I just don't like what I saw. They're still behind the gate here. Dave, we're going to leave ourselves on screen. Right. Again, you'll go ahead and mute yourself.
I just had a little try. A go at a try. Doug Watson, I'm just looking at him. He looks confident.
We wish everyone great success and luck here as you're watching live the HHH Racing Podcast. This is the $12 million Dubai World Cup. They're going 1.25 miles. The favorite right now is a soft favorite in the United States and Hong Kong pools, and that is the number 4, Derma Sotogake, with Kabir Khan and Ushba Tesoro at 7-2. So this is a pretty wide open betting market, as it looks like they are about to go into the gate. They're not quite there yet. They're still parading behind.
I'm looking at Kabir Khan right now, and he looks like snow wouldn't melt in his mouth. I mean, they're very relaxed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 9 horse is sweating up a bit. I can't see who that is.
You said the 9 horse? That'd be Newgate.
Yeah, he looks very sweaty.
Yeah, he tends to get a little sweaty, but that's not a good sign. They are starting to load into the gate for the 2024 Dubai World Cup. It's a fascinating race. I don't expect a lot of speed. I expect to see the outside horse, Laurel River, take the lead. I'm hoping Derma Sotogake is not too far back. I'm a little bit concerned with the saddle situation, but he looks to be fine. Good luck to everyone in the $12 million Dubai World Cup. We're going to leave ourselves on screen. I'll try to give the best commentary that we possibly can.
Well, maybe take me off screen. I'm going to enjoy the race. I'm about 20
All right, I'm
seconds.
going to take you off screen, Davey. Thanks. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I expect Laura River to be gunning from the outside, and hopefully Derma Sotogake, for me, sits a nice trip. It's been a great day. It's been a great night here in the U.S. We got a lot of great races still to come in Arkansas and Florida. But here's the premier race in the entire world, to Dubai World Cup. Kaber Khan about to go in the gate with white socks. Pretty horse. Here we go. Derma Sotogake is acting up big time. This is not good at all. They break. Derma ends up breaking fine. And here we go. There's Laurel River, takes the lead. It looks like a pretty fast pace to me. They are 4 across the track in second. This looks like a pretty active pace to me. Laurel River, as expected, is on top. And Defunded is pressing up into second. Newgate is in fifth. Derma Sotogake is comfortable on the outside in sixth. And Kabir Khan is saving ground just inside of him. Again, the pace looks to be pretty honest to me. Laurel River and Defund have been 1-2 all the way around. Kabir Khan is trying to sneak up in the inside into third. Derma Sotogake is under the whip. I don't think he's getting there. Laurel River is in hand right now with a big lead. I don't think they're going to catch this horse as they hit the top of the stretch. Laurel River has a huge lead. Laurel River is going to roll. Ushba Tesoro is coming up on the outside to try to get second, and he is. It's going to be Laurel River winning the 2024 Dubai World Cup by 7 or 8. Wow. Over Ushba Tesoro and Senior Buscador. Laurel River romps in the Dubai World Cup. Wow. Unbelievable. Very impressive. Laurel River, who I talked about. I guess I should have switched my pick. Oh, boy. That's the way things go. He wins, I mean, easily. Wasn't even close. Ushba second. I believe Senior Buscador finished third. This was not even close. Wow. Chris Couple said it, man, shaking my head. How they let that happen, I don't get it. He's getting smaller. That means you need to go. Look, he was taking a lot of late money. It looks like in the European pools, he went off at, wow, he took a lot of late money. In the UK pools, he went off at 8.5 to 1. 8.5 to 1 in the UK pools. And he went off at 9 to 1. He actually drifted up. He drifted up in the Hong Kong and USA pools as I bring Davy Lane back on. Davey, the way the money that he was taking late, in both locales, and the way the track was playing, I should have switched my bet. Derma had no chance. He didn't look comfortable. I should have switched my bet. And if I switch it to Laurel River, I get out for the day. I know it's you don't like to change your decisions last second, because if Derma wins, then I'm beside myself. But I just had a gut feeling. I didn't go with it. Laurel River romps Davey. He may look easy. Unbelievable.
Yeah, the market, the late market move. I mean, and the money was pouring in, so some people knew, right? I don't know. I'm particularly proud of Dura Rede. I mean, maybe he held on for fourth, maybe not, but he ran a good race. I think fifth in the end. Wilson, I think nabbed him, but Kabir Khan was exposed there.
Yeah, definitely was.
And so wow, I'm just watching it again. I mean, it really was a slap down, wasn't it?
And Davey, we don't know the pace scenario. It's the fractional times you don't really know. I thought they were going, pretty fast, pace. I think it was honest. As I bring up Laurel River's PPs before this race, when in 21 and 22, especially in 22, he was a serious horse. I remember when he won the Pat O'Brien, that grade 2 that you see on paper with a 108 buyer. I mean, he was really an up and comer. I don't know what happened. I'll have to go back and read the story. I think he had a small injury. He obviously needed the race 2 back against Muhib. And last time he won very easily, but it was a mile race. We weren't sure how good he was. Yeah. I think the pace scenario really helped him out here, because if Laurel River had ran, let's just say in the Saudi Cup, I don't think he would have had a prayer. But as I said before, and as we talked about before the show, there was not a lot of early speed signed on. And even though it did look like he was being pressed a bit by Defunded, I'm feeling this pace wasn't lightning fast. And once he took the lead on the top of the stretch, it just didn't look like he'd be caught. And when you get a very talented horse, a good trip, and obviously he was well meant for Juddmonte, that's what happens. And there you go.
And a local rider, like we have to say this again. I mean, the local rider like Buick in the previous race, this is the champion jockey in the UAE. And he knew from the outside draw that he had to get to, before the sort of clubhouse turn, if you will, he had to be right there. And he was. And
by the way, you know what, Davey? I forgot about this. Can we give Vashon Welch? How about this, Davey? Remember, he said he liked. Do you remember what he said? He said. Let me go back to it. Vashon said, "I'm putting my mortgage on Laurel River and Ushpa Tesoro," and he had. I guess he had an exacta there, Davey, because Vashon. There you go. Mortgage paid in full. Congratulations to Vashon Welch. Wow, that is quite the tout right there. You got to give that guy big time props.
For sure. What price did he return finally? What was the Laurel River?
Yeah, Vashon, tell us if you got an exacta or what you got there, Vashon. Let us know. You don't have to tell us how much you bet if you don't want to, but Vashon, let us know what happened there, because that is very cool. Wow, that I can actually tell you. I mean, I can tell you the exacta. If you bet through the states, I can actually tell you, Davey. Give me a second. I'll let you know, because I have the probables here. Let's see. Actually, let me see. Now they took him off screen. I don't know, but it had to be really good. I can tell you that. So that is quite impressive. Speaking of impressive, there's a horse at Gulfstream winning a race that has a real bright future. The name of that horse is called Set, who is now 2 for 2. Just want to give the USA punters some love there. Set is a very nice horse. So congratulations to Vashon Welch. Ushpa ran his race. I mean, this is what he does. He's a really good horse. He gets a big purse there. He gets second again. So that's 2 second place finishes, Davey, for Ushpa Tesoro. He won $2.4 million. He gets in that race. So he's had a good 2 months in the desert, hasn't he?
For sure. And that horse wasn't on the primetime Japanese tracks. He was on the NRA, not the JRA.
Yes.
So he was in the country tracks, if you will, the fairground tracks. So
there you go, Davey. A heavy win bet on Laurel River and an ice cold exacta. Wow.
Well done.
That is Vashan, you got to email me, man. Maybe we'll get you on the show. You got to email me. That'd be worth putting on the show, at least for a short amount of time. So Irene wants to give a shout out. Great picks, Vashan. Absolutely, man.
Get me off the show.
No, Davey. We got you. Also, Thomas Minoz said shout out to Pete Visco. He had a couple of third choices that won a big odds. Okay, so Pete put some picks out. You know, Davey, I think this is a good lesson as we wrap up the morning.
Right.
Sometimes you got to zig and zag, right?
Yeah.
When the saddle came off and they readjusted, I just didn't like that. And the way the Mighty Laurel, I mean, I talked through the race, right?
Yeah,
I talked through it, and I just couldn't pull the trigger. Shame on me. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to make adjustments. I just didn't do it.
Yeah, you're faced with reality and facts, and you're tied into your preconceived notions. I mean, and that's like anything going on, interactions between people or politics in the country or whatever. Like, you know, you've got to see that new information comes along, and how do you adjust to it and adapt to it, and make a decision. And that was new information. And at first, I didn't see what you were talking about. I said, oh, you know, a saddle adjustment. But of course, it's a new jockey. Everything was lined up for Le Maire, and it clearly wasn't comfortable. And at that point, you have to, like, you know, make a new bet. You know, not follow through. I mean,
Davey, I've got to believe. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, but I'll tell you one thing, Howard. Quickly, I'm looking at the horse in the winning paddock right now.
Yes,
and I'm looking at its hindquarters and what have you, and it is beautifully speckled. I mean, the horse looks fantastic. Of course, you know, this is not necessarily what you're seeing, you know, sitting on a computer, sitting miles away. You're not getting what you'd get if you're at the track and looking at the horse in live. So, you know, there are sharp people out there who, you know, the bookies send their agents to these tracks. They look at the horses. They know what a good horse looks like. And when they see a good horse, you know, they take evasive action as well, you know. And there's where the money starts coming even more, you know.
Davey, this is a major story to me, not only for the obvious that he won a $12 million race. Laurel River is trained by Juddmonte. He's clearly a dirt horse. This horse is coming to the States. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'd be shocked if this horse has not come to the States, and now could be a major factor in our handicap races, because obviously this horse has his shit together, so to speak. And, you know, he's got natural speed, which plays great at any track here in the United States in general. Laurel River has now become a serious handicap player in the United States, assuming he comes over. I don't know Simar Satish. I don't know the trainer, but I do know Juddmonte. And you got to believe this horse is going to be coming to the United States now for our summer campaign, right, Davey? And into the Breeders' Cup in the fall. You
know, maybe the horse gets put away for a repeat of this next year. I don't
really. Well, I'd have to believe. I'd have to believe the Breeders' Cup Classic's on the radar now. You'd have to think.
That's definitely on the radar. That's definitely on the radar. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure trucking around Saratoga and all these other places in the sun in the baking summer is on the agenda. To be honest.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see. Any other thoughts? We'd have to watch the replay, but you know, Senior Buscador and Ushba ran perfectly fine. I mean, just Laurel River ran a hole in the wind. What can you say?
Right. Well, I mean, I got, you know, I was lucky because we couldn't bet the super in this country, and I would have done a lot with Dura Rede in fourth, and he got fourth. It got nailed by Wilson Tesoro by a nose. I'm pretty sure. Okay. It may have not been, but it looked like it on the screen to me. So sometimes you get out of jail when you don't have a bet, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's you know, there's a few. You know, this is for all the past performances, there's a lot can happen in the final 24 hours before the race, and then even the final 24 minutes before a race. So,
right, no kidding. Today was a perfect example, Davey. Davey, look, we've been on for a while. I greatly appreciate your time, Davey. Throughout the broadcast and right now, we have over 250 people watching live on YouTube, on X, everywhere. People from all over the country, in Latin America, Europe, the United States. I can't thank people enough for the HHH Racing Podcast love you've shown. And Dave, even though you and I didn't have a great day with our wallets, we hope we gave out some great information and people enjoyed the entertainment, because listen, you're not always going to win these races, but it's world-class stage, and Medyan once again put on a great show with some big time horses. I guess the last thing I'll ask you, Dave, I'll let you go. Is there one particular horse that impressed you the most today? And who do you look forward to going forward? For me, it's Forever Young. I'm fascinated to see what he could do in the Derby.
Yeah, it's Forever Young for sure. And that's not just because I had money on it already, but I mean, already the Derby's sizing up between Sierra Leone, Forever Young. You know, I mean, we'll see what happens in Arkansas and Florida tonight. I mean, you know,
yes.
does you know what's going on in there? Can you throw a few bones out to the?
Yeah, well, listen, I like Mystic Dan in the Arkansas Derby to upset Timberlake and Muth. I'm not a fan of Muth for Baffer in that race. The Florida Derby, if Fierceness can run back, he's going to be hard to beat. But I like Conquest Warrior in that race as well. And then, of course, the week and next week, we've got my boy Sierra Leone running in the Bluegrass at Keeneland. There's nice races in New York and also California. So there's a lot to sort out here for the Kentucky Derby. Davy Lane, it's been a pleasure, man. We look forward to seeing you, having you on again. Next time I see you, it might be on screen, but I will be seeing you in person, my friend, in Europe, coming up here in just a few months. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to that, and looking forward to doing an outside broadcast from one of these tracks in Europe, and we'll have to work on the logistics of that.
That would be fantastic. For my good friend and co-host, Davy Lane, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, of coverage of the 2024 Dubai World Cup card, episode 343 of Picks and Ponies. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching the show. Crush your bets anywhere you play today in the horse racing world. Take care, everyone. Have a great day and evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.